Hey everyone, welcome to Hannah Reads. My name is Hannah and today I am doing my May wrap up. I am a little late in filming this, but I wanted to get it out there because it's like May was my first full month of doing booktube, so I just wanted to kind of acknowledge it or in some way. So in May I ended up reading 11 books, which I'm not sure if that's good or bad for me because this was the first month that I really tracked everything and was really trying to get through a TBR, and I had 2 book clubs, so I was just really focused on reading last month, but it does feel pretty good for me. And overall I read 4,663 pages. I gave 1 5-star, 6 4 stars, 4 3 stars, and I had no 2 or 1 stars, and I didn't DNF. So I'm just going to quickly go through the books of what I read, and then at the end of the video I'll give you my favorite book of the month and then my least favorite book of the month. So the first book that I read was Fairest of All by Serena Valentino. This is book 1 in the Villains series where we follow origin stories of the Disney villains. I do have a full review of my thoughts on this book on my channel, but I will be sure to link it down below if you'd like to take a look. Like I said, I gave this 3 stars. I liked it. The writing style wasn't too good for me, but I am going to be buddy reading the second book, The Beast Within, with Steph, so I'm very excited to start that, and hopefully the series just gets better. The next book that I read was one that was a reread for me. I read The Host by Stephenie Meyer. I gave this book 4 stars. I have read it in the past, it's just been a very long time, and I was trying to get through my physical TBR shelf. I enjoyed the ending a lot. This book is too big for what it is. I felt like there was lots of repetition throughout this book, but I did watch the movie. The whole combination of both of them was enjoyable, but I'm glad that they decided not to make this a series, or at least they're holding off. Then I have another reread, and this was for the buzzword for May, which was House or Home, and this was the only book that I had on my physical TBR that would work. And this is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom. This is the first book in the Miss Peregrine series. I love this book because it has so many illustration or like photos. So multimedia books, which are very cool and very enjoyable to read. I gave this 4 stars. Like I said, it was a reread for me, and so I didn't find myself enjoying it as much as I did the first time. Maybe it's because the characters are so young. I am going to be continuing the series. The next book that I read, it was actually a graphic novel, and I will insert the picture here, is Saga Volume 2 by Vaughan. He is the writer. I give this 4 stars. I'm not really familiar with graphic novels or manga, so I wanted to read the really hyped up ones, or the mainstream ones that people know. I do like it. I think that the book is a little graphic, but I mean, it is M for mature. But I did like it. The illustrations are absolutely gorgeous. I like the idea of a Romeo and Juliet kind of retelling. So I am hoping to pick up Volume 3 in June. The next book that I read was Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover, and I again will insert a photo. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This was my first Colleen Hoover book that I have ever read. I did enjoy it a lot. The ending took me by surprise, and I actually cried a little at the end. I don't usually cry at books or movies, but this one, it just got me. So it was very good. I recommend this book. People told me this is kind of where to start with Colleen Hoover, so that is why I picked it up, and I'm very excited to get to her other books very soon. The next book that I read in May is Gold Digger by Anderton, and I will insert a photo here. This was just a 3 out of 5 stars for me. Just not a book that had a lot of substance, or one that I felt like I gleaned a lot or gained a lot from. It was pretty much about just 3 women who all had separate storylines, and then throughout the book they very like interconnected. I found it to be a pretty petty book. which is how the characters reacted with each other. But it is a very short read and it was a quick read. But yeah, it just got a 3-star from me. The next book that I read in May was Jaspar's War by Cym Lowell. This is a political fiction book about a woman whose children are kidnapped, and it is her like world travel, like global hunt to get her kids back while also figuring out why they were taken in the first place. I gave that 3 out of 5 stars. It was rough to get through. I found myself almost getting in a slump because I did not want to pick it up. But yeah, it was really long. I did like that we had different narrators throughout, but all in all, I don't think I would recommend this book unless you are very into political fiction, like US Congress, presidential stuff, and like just international affairs. The next book that I actually buddy read with my fiance is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, which is the first book in the Throne of Glass series. I gave this 5 stars. This book was so good. I found myself like reading more than my fiance, so I definitely finished it before him, and I just love the character of Selena Sardothian. I think she is the Katniss Everdeen, just like taken to the next notch. I love that we got to see a very vulnerable side of her, along with her assassin killer side as well. I have a feeling that that book may be on my top books of 2021. The next book that I read in May is A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. This is book 2 in A Song of Fire and Ice. I gave this book 4 stars. I absolutely loved A Game of Thrones, the first book in this series, and that got a 5-star from me. This one got a 4-star. I felt it was a little more political than the first one, not as much action going on. I just really didn't enjoy the fighting over the throne and who's the rightful heir to the throne. It was just a lot. I found it very repetitive, but again, I loved Tyrion in this book. He saved this book for me. I listened to the audiobook, so I 10 out of 10 recommend listening to the audiobooks for this series. If, you know, it's almost 1,000 pages, so if these kind of books intimidate you, just listen to an audiobook and do some stuff around the house. But I'm very excited to get to the next book in this series. And the last book that I read in May is Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mbalia. I will insert a picture here. This was the May pick for Middle Grade Monthly. And I don't know if you guys saw that live show or if you were a part of it, but there were very, very mixed reviews on that book. People were DNFing it, people were giving it 2 stars, people were giving it 5 stars, and I gave it a 3-star. I felt like I didn't connect to the character. I felt like there was a lot of stuff I was getting confused about the characters, the places. I wasn't real familiar with the African folklore, but that's probably just a me thing. But I did like the ending, and definitely there was a friendship between Tristan and one of the other characters that really, really saved that book for me. So I will be picking up the second book in that series at some point. So all in all, my least favorite book of May was Jaspar's War by Cym Lowell. I just was not enjoying myself at all. I'm not a big political fiction. And the book that was my favorite of the month was definitely Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. And so yeah, this was my first wrap up video. If you liked what you saw, please be sure to give me a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys all next time. Bye.